everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies featuring the Unofficial Disney Parks Cookbook. We're all set to start with the appetizer, corn dog nuggets. As this is another recipe book with cookbook with stories, let's tell this one. If you have the weird sensation of being more kid-sized while on Main Street, USA, you're not crazy. It's a tactic called forced perspective. The buildings actually get smaller at the tops, making the viewer feel little and the buildings feel even bigger. Eating kid food staples like these corn dog nuggets has the same effect of transporting you back to your childhood. Pair with your favorite dipping sauces and enjoy as either a snack or part of a full meal. Well, there are some ways I'd want to be transported back to my childhood, but not many of them. Anyway, that kind of weird comment aside, the ingredients are waiting for us at the table, so let's move in that direction. In order to make this recipe, we're going to need 4 cups of veggie oil for frying, 16 beef hot dogs cut crosswise into thirds, I've only got 8 there, a cup each of yellow cornmeal and all-purpose flour, 1 1/4 cups of whole milk, I'm using skim, half teaspoon each of salt and black pepper, a half cup of granulated sugar, I don't know if I mentioned that or not, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and a large egg. Now let's move into the kitchen and put this recipe together. It might be a little bit hard to tell in here, but an observant viewer and a regular fan of Mystical Munchies will probably recognize a very familiar sight. Leave it down in the comments below if you're able to recognize what the familiar sight is and what it's ultimately going to mean. For now, file it away, otherwise we're going to come back to it. Anyway, we've also patted the hot dog pieces dry with a paper towel. In the bowl of a stand mixer, which I've got right here, thanks to a Christmas ask, we're going to add the remaining ingredients. So we'll start off with our cup each of flour and cornmeal. And of course the cornmeal I'm going to have to open fresh since I just picked it up at the grocery store this morning. Actually, one other thing I want to check before I go too much further. There you are. Almost forgot to grab the receipt out of one of my grocery bags. Anyway. Next, we're going to add another cup of cornmeal as well. Easy does it. Ooh. I'm trying not to overcommit on my ingredients because I had some problems last time we used. I had some problems when we did the Harbor Masters Fish and Chips 2 weeks ago out of the official Catan cookbook. That can go back up as well. Now we want the 1 1/4 cups of milk. And here's where I think the problem came in because I overcommitted on the liquid. So after last week, after that recipe, I'm going to be very particular. I've got my 1/4 cup measuring cup here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we are. I'll leave that out for the time being. Now we want our half cup of granulated sugar. I've got that right here, also going in. Actually, I'm going to set the... Before I forget, I am going to set the oil temperature that I want now. I'm not going to start it yet, though, because I want to wait until a little bit later before I start the oil preheating. And yes, if you didn't guess in the comments section down below, that is what the familiar sight here is getting ready for. We are going to be heating up oil before too long. There's 350. That's where I want it to be. Okay, where were we? Oh yes, we just added the sugar. So now we want the half teaspoon each of salt and pepper. Salt, easy does it. And pepper. Now we're going to take the lid off, so I have a little easier time getting the half teaspoon in there. There we are. Wonderful. Okay. Next we want the 4 teaspoons of baking powder, which I've got right here, along with my, wait a minute, it's a teaspoon, not tablespoon. I had my 2 tablespoon measuring spoon here. Do I even have a 2 teaspoon? Yes, I do, actually. So I misspoke in the ingredient walkthrough, where you actually want 4 teaspoons of baking powder, not 4 tablespoons. I had the 2 tablespoon ready to go, but there is 2 teaspoons. So we'll go 2 and another 2. Those can go back up. And the last thing we need, I'm going to take my watch off as well for this. I want it off later anyway. The last ingredient we want right now, I want to close the eggs on the crock pot, is we want our 1 egg. There's no special separation needed here, no. Okay. Trying to make sure I didn't get any shell in there, and I didn't. So, excellent. Put that down the disposal. I'll deal with that later, though. The eggs can go back in the fridge. And now, as you can see, I've got the flat beater in here. So now we're going to beat these. So now we're going to pull that in. Lock it in place, and we want to beat these until well combined. Let's go to about a 2. I probably should have warned that it's going to be a little bit loud, so if you're wearing headphones, you might not want to be. I do have a spatula just in case I need to scrape down the sides, but I shouldn't need to do this with this beater bar in there. Okay, let's not unlock. Let's turn it off. Now we'll unlock it. And we'll pull this up to give the sides a quick scrape, which I don't think we'll need to do much of. Up. There we are. Okay. Let's give it one more mix, but I don't think we'll have to go too much further with it before we're ready to go into the next step. And now while that is heating up, I am going to go ahead and start the oil. We'll put that over medium heat. And we want to let that heat up until the oil reaches 350. Which I'm trying to keep this in a way that I can watch it without having to be standing at something resembling a weird angle. That should do. I want to be able to watch that. Like I said, I want to be able to watch that from a straightaway angle. I'm just making sure I didn't start the wrong burner. Okay. I'm just waiting for the temperature of the oil to start to climb a little bit. And I think we got the right... Turn that just slightly. Okay, burner, I've had enough of your... Okay. I was going to say, I've had enough of your funny business, burner, but now it looks like... slow, but the oil... At least it's supposed to be starting to come up to temperature pretty soon. I think the... I'm trying to get my... There we go. I was trying to get my... kitchen drawer closed where I had everything in there. So, okay, now the oil's starting to climb to temperature. So now we'll check on, after we unlock the stand mixer, we'll check on the batter again, and okay. I think we're all good to go there. So I'll scrape down as much of the batter as I can to keep it in there. And I think now we're going to go ahead and take the beater bar out. We'll put that over to the. We'll put that over toward the dishes. Scrape down the sides of the bowl again. And here's where I definitely wanted my watch off. I'm going to wait for the oil to take another climb on the temperature, because it looked like it was acting right for a second there, but it seems like it's still... Okay, no, the pot's definitely getting warmer, so okay, the oil just started climbing again. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the hot dogs over that we've cut into thirds, and we're going to put a few of these pieces into the batter to get it all nice and soaked. So it's going to be a little bit hard to tell, but since the angle's a little bit weird, we'll put a few pieces in there. I only want to do about 4 or 5 in one pass, since it seems like that's all the bowl of the stand mixer can actually handle. So we'll do 2 more. I could definitely put more in here than just the 5, but 5 is about the limit that I'm going to go into the oil with at one time. So I don't want to overwhelm the bowl. I don't want to overwhelm the stand mixer bowl. So I've got the first pieces of hot dog in there, and we'll come back once the temperature on the oil starts to get a little bit closer. Probably about 335, 340 is when I'm going to bring the camera back. So stand by until then. The oil is at 345 right now, so we're going to watch the last 5 degrees in real time. One thing I'm going to try to do with this recipe that I don't usually do, and it's not explicitly mentioned in the directions, is after each batch of corn dog nuggets is done, I'm going to actually let the oil come back up to 350. So I'm going to actually leave... Normally I take the probe out and have it make a beeline for the dishwater, but in this case, I'm going to leave the probe in there and bring it back up to temperature between each fry, which I probably should be doing anyway. But the only recipe to explicitly mention that was actually the Papanazzi way back in December of last year when we did the Final Fantasy XIV Ultimate Cookbook. That was the dessert, in case you recall that. So we are just about at 350 now. So if you're wearing headphones, you probably won't want to be in about 5 seconds. Should be going off any time now. Okay, that was more like a minute, but you get the point. So now we're going to take the hot dog pieces that we had in the batter, and we're going to put them carefully in the oil. Bring these over as close as I can, preferably without splashing myself in the process. We'll let those boil for about 2 minutes. In the meantime, off camera, I'm going to get the next batch of the corn dog nuggets going. I'm going to get those ready to go in the oil. Just making sure I've got the groups of hot dog pieces over here ready to go off in the plate off shot. I could probably put more than 5 in there, but I don't want to overextend. I don't want to overextend the pot too much, so I don't end up with a situation where the oil potentially overflows. I also want to keep them away from the probe as much as I can. And I want to let them cook as evenly as I can. So that's why I'm kind of pushing them down into the oil a little bit where I can. But again, keeping them away from the probe where possible. I'm also trying to be very careful that I don't get directly over the top of hot oil, because that seems like a bad plan, just in case it does something crazy on me. And we've got just about 10 seconds left before the first batch of nuggets comes out. I've got a plate that I've lined with paper towel that I'm going to bring, as always, to the oil rather than the other way around. Okay, we'll scoop these out to the aforementioned paper plate, or the plate lined with paper towel. We'll let those start drying, and I'll check the temperature of the oil. Still at 345, so actually it's probably fine to just go ahead straight away with these. So we'll put the next batch in. I'll put the next batch in, get the batch after that ready. And then as usual, I'm not going to bore you guys with doing all of this on camera, although it's probably not going to take that long to get all of these done. It's probably not going to take that long to get all of these done. 4. And here's the last one. Start the timer on those. I'll get the next batch ready. As usual with these, now that we've done the first batch and gotten the second one ready, I will turn the camera off, fry the rest of these up, and then we'll take a look when the finished product is all done. The corn dog nuggets look like they turned out great, but the question is, how do they taste? The only way we're going to find out, we're not going to find out here at the table talking about them. We're going to have to reconvene over at my desk for the taste test. I've got the corn dog nuggets here along with some ketchup. Because if you remember back to when you were kids, and for some of you I realize that's a long time ago, the traditional sauce with corn dogs would have been ketchup. But let's give these a taste and see what I think of them. We'll do one plain and then one with ketchup. So this will be the plain one. And we'll go for one with ketchup. In either case, I'm very happy with how these turned out. And as we saw, it actually wasn't too terribly much effort to put these together. So I could see whipping these up potentially for game nights for game days and or nights with friends over here. So I'll definitely have to file this recipe away for later use. That's another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. Next week, we'll be making the side pizza spring rolls. Quite busy on the game front this weekend. Later today, we're going to have an exhibition game of season ticket baseball. This will be the other half of the stream to help me decide what season my 1985 baseball season replay is going to be in. We had inside pitch yesterday. Today is going to be the other half of that test in season ticket baseball. Tomorrow morning, we're playing This War of Mine, and tomorrow afternoon, I've got another game lined up, but I'll announce that after This War of Mine is over. Wednesday, we're playing the Cards of Cthulhu from DVG. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.